It's a starting five Friday edition. I feel like looking back at last season of this, we usually had more energy on Fridays than we did on Mondays for these episodes. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year, but you're already off to a great start. You're in Florida.
Oh, I'm in Florida. It's sunny out. I'm happy. I'm less congested than I was on Monday just because I think I'm in a better environment. Gregory is feeling better. There's a certain aura around me right now. I got a fresh Final Four t-shirt on. I got a green Turks and Caicos hat. The vibes are immaculate right now. There's a fresh pot of coffee brewing inside. I really can't be beat right now. And I'm talking hoops with my man's Gregory. So what more can I say?
Yeah, you're glowing. I don't think there are actually birds chirping in the background, but I keep hearing birds chirping in your background. It just looks like there's birds.
No, that's actually birds. So no, this is not the Masters. I didn't pump the bird sounds in. Those are real birds chirping.
Nice. Also, just a quick update. I went head to head with COVID and I won. I was victorious. So fuck you, COVID. I'll look you right in the eyes and tell you took an L to me. All right, 5 topics today. Let's start with the same one we started with last time, I think. NBA play-in. Big game tonight. It's Friday that we're recording this, obviously. And Hawks play the Cavs. And then the Clippers play the Pelicans. I'm still not interested in Clippers-Pelicans, but I'm very interested in playoff Trae Young.
Okay. I feel like your thoughts on the play-in have shifted just a little bit.
No.
Not even for this game.
Pointless
still. Like you're not, I mean,
yeah, it's like the only thing that's in it for me right now is that I want Trae Young to be in the playoffs, and that's cool. That's awesome. But like, he didn't earn it in the regular season, and that was because they were hurt. It's not necessarily his fault, but like, I would have been fine if they were just punished and the team that finished 10th in the East didn't get a chance to make the playoffs. Like, let's just not delay the good games in the series. Like, let's just get to Saturday and get the good games.
But first of all, there wouldn't be games anyway. Like this would just be a lull in games. There would be no games. They wouldn't start the playoffs yet. But also, I feel like that's the point of the plan right there that I think you're missing. Like you literally just said it. It gives a chance for maybe something that happened during the regular season. Now, this isn't the case always. Sometimes it's just a case of teams sucking. But the fact of the matter is like the Hawks were hurt all year. And this gives them a chance to get into the playoffs because they came on strong enough at the end of the year. And it gives a chance for us to see Trae Young in the playoffs, which I think is good for the game, good for everybody. I'm starting to come around on the plan a little more.
I'm not. I just think it totally diminishes the regular season, which was already meaningless to begin with. But like, again, like once the Hawks realized they were kind of out of it and they were hurt, they just hung it up and said, we just got to float to the 10 seed and then win 2 games. Like, I don't know. I'm just annoyed by it. I want the real series to get here. Like, I will never not watch Trae Young in an elimination game. So, yeah, I'll watch. And I get this is a money grab, and the NBA is probably making good money off this. But, like, I don't know. We're going to talk about the Wolves in a second. But, like, Wolves-Clippers was a little bit ridiculous. The Nets game just annoyed me because the Nets were obviously the better team. Like, God, what happens if the Cavs beat the Hawks tonight, Cart? That sucks.
That would suck. But I personally think that tonight's games are going to be pretty comfortable. I mean, I don't know what number you want to put comfortable win. I think I saw Hawks at -2 and Clippers at -4, and I'm getting all over both of those.
I think the Pelicans could win.
Really?
I do. I think I'm going to bite my tongue super hard on this because he just is like a wine drinker with Twitter fingers. But CJ McCollum as a playoff number 1 intrigues me. And it should intrigue you too. He came out hooping last game.
He did come out hooping. That was impressive. Is that going to be an everyday thing, every game thing? I don't know. I just think the Clippers are better as a team.
But can we go down the line though? Like McCollum and Ingram are better than Paul George and Reggie Jackson. That's a better top 2. Let's go. Like, go down the line. Who else they got? Like, I don't like the Clippers supporting cast this year.
When you put it like that, that is true.
Like, it's Paul George against the 2 best Pelicans. That's the model for the Clippers. And like, I kind of think Ingram and McCollum are up for it.
And that's kind of good enough because you get random Reggie Jackson moments. Because at last game, he went 4 for like 20 something. This next game, he'll go 7 for 10 from 3 and start skipping all over the place. Like, that's the Reggie Jackson experience.
That's true. One thing I did greatly miss that I guess I enjoy with the play-in, but it's more about the playoffs, is like old school, not sportsbook, just DraftKings lineups. I've been killing those.
Wait, like, are you talking about like actual like fantasy daily lineups, like with the points add up and you get points and you're in a pool?
Baby.
Wow, that is a major throwback.
It's fun, dude. I've been so like I did a couple same game parlays, but like I've been itching for my betting scratch lately, and like I went back to just the old daily fantasy sports, and it's fun. And like NBA playoffs is the best time to do that.
You're a degenerate. That's some degenerate behavior.
Degenerateness.
It's not degenerate behavior, but it's like going back to that is like a super major throwback.
Well, we'll see. Speaking of just same game parlay stuff, I am going to be hosting a show with Dimers and FanDuel daily throughout the NBA playoffs. So keep an eye out for that. It's like a 5-minute show per day. But the concept is that people pitch me same game parlays, and then I have to either cash one or chop one. So it should be fun. There's rumors that some quote unquote Twitter famous personalities will be involved. I don't understand how I'm hosting it, but it should be pretty fun. So,
and I think it'll be fun because I think this is going to make the return of a parlay G. Like I think it's time. I think it's time for the big one.
I think it is time for the big one.
It's time for the one that if a tree falls in your backyard and hits your fence, like you don't even trip about it because you just hit for like 30,000.
I was tripping still when the neighbor's tree hit our fence, by the way. What a stupid rule, for the record. If your neighbor's tree falls in your yard and damages things, you have to pay the damages. I don't get that. Lucky I like my neighbors. Otherwise, I'd be chopping trees down, throwing them off the fence. All right, topic number 2. The Wolves with the majestic victory over the Clippers. I compared the Wolves to our Detroit Pistons prior to that game because it felt like it was a franchise that was in purgatory for so long that was finally ready to get over the hump. And it was mostly because they have their blue chips. They have Cat, they have Anthony Edwards, and they took a risk on a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who no matter what you want to say about D'Angelo Russell, he can hoop. He can put up numbers. That 3 did their job, even with Cat underperforming in the spotlight. But then the celebration comes. And people are very torn on this cart. People are not happy. Some people are defending the Wolves, like you should celebrate anything. You are notorious for saying we should not celebrate little wins. We should stay low and build. That is the Carter Elliott mantra. I have to know, are you happy with this celebration?
So I made my official statement. I'm not happy with the celebration. I think it went over the top. Like, I think Patrick Beverley and them would have every right to, in the post-game press conference, take a couple shots, be like, Clippers didn't want me, all that nonsense. But the jumping on the table, the tears, the throwing the jersey into the crowd, just way too much for me. Like, come on now.
So the tears might be the point where I felt like it was over the top, but I'm perfectly okay with it being over the top. I think it's hilarious.
Well, I don't know that it's funny, but I don't think that it's warranted.
See, I don't know that I would personally necessarily go to the lengths that those players and mostly Pat Beverly did, but you also know, Cart, I'm a pretty spiteful person. I'm pretty fueled by if you wrong me.
No way.
If you wrong me, I'm pretty motivated by things of that nature. And that's where this is coming from Pat Bev, is it not? Like, Pat Bev despises the Clippers organization. After all the years he spent there, he was a teammate with these dudes. And you could even say maybe Pat Bev shares some of our viewpoints on the Champagne Clippers, right? Like, or the West Coast, the LA Illini, is that what we call it?
Yeah, so the LA Fighting Illini.
I always mix that. But like that's the part to me is like he's emotional because he got them back. He got his revenge. And I can appreciate that.
I can appreciate that too, but at the same time, like Pat Bev walked into the Clippers office and he wanted money, and they're like, we're not paying you that because you're Pat Bev. And that's okay to say. Like, also, I hope you realize the Clippers are going to be like back next year.
Are they?
They got all these picks. They got Kawhi coming back. They have Paul George. They are going to be back. And that's because they have money, because they didn't pay guys like like Pat Bev for all the greatness that he is. Like,
are they going to be better than the Wolves next year, though?
Yes.
Like, I'm kind of here for Pat Bev continuing to have more success than the Clippers.
No, they will be better. And also, like, the Wolves might get swept. I mean, I don't personally think they'll get swept, but like, there's a good chance they get swept.
I'm convinced that series is going to go 7. Wolves, Grizz.
I said 5. I said gentleman sweep.
But here's the thing: Anthony Edwards is a playoff number 1 right now. I feel strongly about that. And if Cat starts to play like
in one playoff game, he's a playoff number 1. I've watched a lot of Wolves this year, and Ant Edwards has had Karl Anthony Towns types games a lot. Like that's kind of the greatness of him. Like he that's why he's him.
First of all, when have you been watching a lot of Wolves games this year?
I have NBA League Pass.
So do I, but I don't think I dusted off the cobwebs from that until the 2nd of April.
I mean, I'm Karl Anthony Towns' biggest fan.
Are you actually?
Yes, I love Karl Anthony Towns.
So in that case, can we talk about Cat? Where was he?
Well, I just think he got mixed up a little bit. I don't think he realized that Ramadan means you just can't eat food. It doesn't mean you can't eat on the court. And that's what that was, basically.
Is Karl Anthony Towns participating in Ramadan or celebrating Ramadan?
No, he's not even Muslim. That was just a stretch by me. I don't know what that was by him, to be honest. Like it was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. He was completely out of sorts. I really don't know what it was, but my Anthony Towns agenda took a major hit, but they still won the basketball game, thank God, so he can bounce back. But that was terrible. But lucky for him, he had guys like Anthony Edwards step up. You know, it must be nice to have your second-year players step up in a play-in game and get you over the hump and get you a win. Some teams, second-year players can't do that.
Yeah, so you're insinuating that Ant is maybe a preferable option to somebody like LaMelo Ball, which I am firmly waving the flag of. Listen, I like both players. LaMelo's obviously a great talent, but I thought that Anthony Edwards has gotten a raw deal since the pre-draft process. I remember going back to the beginning of that draft, and like it felt like all the NBA people who didn't watch Anthony Edwards in college were adamant that he should not be the number 1 pick. He's just going to be like an empty stats scoring guy who doesn't really love the game and has personality questions. And I was like, okay, like, are you just getting that from the record of his Georgia team and that's it? Because if you watch this dude in the fucking Maui Invitational when the lights were brightest, this dude is the biggest big game gamer guard that I've seen in 5 years. And I still feel that way. I think like when he got to the league, he kind of instantly turned his motor on, and the Wolves were still bad. So it kind of fueled and fed the narrative that he's just an eater on bad teams. But like, look at him now. Here we are in a playoff game, and he scores the first 7 points like that. He's a bulldozer getting to the rim when he wants to. He's getting up like 7 threes a game and making 4 of them. I love this dude. I think he's electric. I think he's a 30-point scorer on a winning team. And then you watch what LaMelo did in the game against the Hawks. He doesn't guard anybody, and he's never guarded anybody. Going back to his high school days, like where has the narrative come that LaMelo Ball's a winner and Anthony Edwards isn't?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you hit the nail on the head. It was all just these pre-draft narratives that I don't know. If that's the case on whoever we're drafting for the Pistons this year, I want to find out who loves the game the least.
Who of the big 3? Actually, you know who it is this year? It's Jaden Ivey.
Who loves the game the least?
Jaden Ivey is going to be the narrative. He loves the game the least guy.
I think Jabari would be the guy who loves the game the least, because he had that coming into this year. He was a top 10 prospect, but like people said, his motor, he hasn't put it all together yet. I feel like he's the player that if we went back and looked at even like the high school rankings type things, like talent wise, I think he was in like the 12 to 8 range of like top 100, but they're like, it was one of those guys where they're like, oh, he's a top 3 player in this class, but motor hasn't put together. That, you know how that goes. There's one of those players every single year. So I think that narrative is someone's gonna bring it up with Jabari, I feel like.
So we want Jabari Smith. Jaden Ivey's just the guy who actually doesn't love the game. You're right.
I think Jaden Ivey actually loves the game.
I think he doesn't.
His mom's a coach.
His mom loves the game. Little Cormac Christie for you.
Oh God, I'm about to ban that name from this pod.
Listen, Jaden Ivey, just because he can jump, he's got to be forced to go out there play 35 minutes, man. Like
Just
you
because he
want
can jump.
he's a trained actor. He's a theater kid. He wants to perform. He wants to put a show on. He doesn't love the game.
Don't put first team All American Jaden Ivey in the same sense as Cormac Christie ever.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm sorry about that. All right. Anything else on the Wolves from you?
No, I'm excited to see that series though.
I didn't realize you were such a big Cat fan. That kind of explains a lot to me about you, but
Yeah.
interesting.
In a good or a bad way.
I don't know. I got to process that a little bit. All right. I put out a video yesterday, grind don't stop in the offseason, baby, of futures for the best 10 best future bets to win the 2023 national championship. And the very first response I got within 10 minutes was from some Twitter bot saying, "Futures is how you lose money, you idiot." And I was like, nice. I would like to know if you could only place one bet, or you were forced to place one bet right now, April 15th, 2022, on who wins the national championship in 2023. Who are you betting?
Well, first off, I would like to say to that guy who responded to you, that's why future bets are like plus like what 1,400. I think like best odds or no, that's why the odds are so high.
He
Goofball.
didn't know who he was talking to, because his comment was futures bets are dumber than any parlay you could place. I was like, you're talking to the wrong guy, man. I don't know.
Wow, you responded to the wrong heat, but no. I mean, for me, it's easy because you know how I roll, G. Like you know where my fandom lies, and this is the perfect opportunity to pick Houston for a futures bet. Like I truly think that this team can make a run. I thought they could make a run last year, but Marcus Sasser's in the NBA testing right now. I'm pretty confident he's going to come back. And I think this Houston team could be special. And there's also other players in the portal that I think they could add. I know they're in on Kenny Lofton Jr., who's a Texas kid. I think that Houston could do wonders with him as far as his conditioning. And also just I think he's a really good player. It's a different type of prototype center that Houston typically doesn't have. They usually have the wiry, like high energy, high motor athletic guys, but not as skilled. So Kenny Lofton would be a little switch up from that because he's super skilled, just not necessarily in the best shape of all time. But yeah, I think Houston would be the way I go. I'm trying to think of like maybe a more long shot one that would be good. I would have to pull up. I don't know. Maybe you want to go touch on that a little more. If you had any more like long shot ones.
Yeah, I threw a couple long shots in there. My super long shot one was Florida at 80-1, just because I feel like there's a non-zero chance that Todd Golden is actually the Golden Boy. I actually had to edit this out of the video, but like I very awkwardly was like, he could be the next handsome white coach. And then I was like, I probably shouldn't throw the white thing around, but like, I don't know. I just see the Brad Stevens parallels there, and he's pulling dudes from the portal already. He got Will Richard or Will Richard, I don't know what it is, from Belmont, who's like a very good starting shooting guard. He got is it Alex Fudge?
Alex Fudge, top 30 kid who I like.
Yeah, like, and I don't think he's done. So I don't know what his roster is going to look like, but Castleton's back to play for him. Like Florida could end up being a top 25 team next year.
That's huge. That's huge too. Like Castleton to me, I told you about this like last year. Castleton was one of my favorite players, or just not favorite players. I'll say favorite centers in college basketball. Like he got overshadowed because Walker Kessler was so great at center, and there were so many other great big men in college basketball. But Colin Castleton was up there. Like Colin Castleton has a chance to win SEC Player of the Year this year if he has a good enough year, and Florida has a good enough year, which they can. Like he has that type of talent on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, if Walker Kessler had Colin Castleton's brain and personality and heart, he'd be the best player in the country. I just want to say that. But yeah, the other long shot that I kind of liked, I didn't even have him in my long shots category, but I feel like it's a long shot. Illinois, 50-1. I know you and I have had quite a back and forth with Illinois, and will continue to, but like I think they're going to get Kofi back. And Sky Clark, who knows how good he is, but like 5-star point guard, Kofi, Coleman Hawkins back. They're gonna get more transfers. They might get Terrence Shannon. Like if they had Terrence Shannon, Sky Clark, and Kofi Coburn, that's a top 10 team in the country. 50-1 odds.
Lose Curbelo.
You cannot underestimate how important that is.
That's one of the biggest transfer ads of the year.
Yeah. But if I had to bet one though, single-handedly, Houston was in my top 3. I would put my money on Kentucky. Cart. They're only 12-1. But I'm all in on the Kentucky redemption narrative after the loss to St. Peter's. And I think Sheway's coming back.
So the 3 for me, I'll go Houston, Arkansas. Arkansas is at plus 1,400 as well. And then as far as something maybe above like the 2 range, I do like Illinois, but going more towards the 50-1 range, Creighton. I love Creighton at 50-1.
Creighton made my list as well. I think that's worth a sprinkle. I wish Greg McDermott wasn't their coach. That's hard.
I wish he wasn't their coach either, but that's still worth it. I mean, if they get Kyle Brenner back, Nebhard, Trey Alexander, Kaluma.
Yeah. Can I drop a Creighton name real quick? Mason Miller.
Mason. They do have him coming in, son of Mike Miller, who I thought I met.
Top 100 recruit, didn't play last season. He was higher rated than 3 of the guys you just named in that special freshman class.
And also, all right, before we move on to the next one, can't you just picture a March Madness run of Nebhard and Trey Alexander going stupid as a backcourt? Like that is a prototypical like backcourt that makes a run. And then you get stuff from Kaluma, you get stuff from Kyle Brenner, you get stuff. I mean, last year I thought it would have been great even to see a guy like Alex O'Connell. Like you could put Alex O'Connell into this team with everyone healthy. Like that's a team that makes a run. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I can see it with this Creighton team.
They got to embrace the baby blue jerseys a little more, but I'm with you. I also don't get why Ryan Nembhard wasn't like a Power 5 kid. Like, why didn't Ryan Nembhard end up at like Duke?
Because I think he played on Montverde and he really didn't do anything but pass.
I mean, he's got the pedigree, right? Like, give me a Nembhard. I don't get it. I loved him from high school days, and the moment he set foot on a Creighton basketball court, I was like, this kid's special. I don't get why he's at Creighton, but hey, that sets up for a good season. Last thing on the futures, I just want to say, I am calling it right now. Arkansas is going to be next year's version of what Michigan was this year.
Ooh, like not ranked in the top 25 all year?
Like a bubble team, and just like a wildly not overrated, but like undeserving team of having all this preseason hype.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Calling it now. Like, I like Muss. I like what he's doing. I like the model, but he's relying a lot on some top 20 kids. And I don't know that I trust anybody except for Nick Smith to be like that dude immediately next year.
Nick Smith special, but I do love Jordan Walsh as well. Anthony Black's a wild card. I love him, but who knows? His hair is really big.
That's big for sure.
Can you see?
Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. All right. The other big news in college basketball this week: Armando Bacot is back with his big arms and his national runner-up title appearance. That's big for the sport, right? Like, are you happy that Armando Bacot's back?
Yeah, I love Armando Bacot. I definitely garnered a whole new level of respect for him watching him play in the Final Four. It was just like him just wanting it. I didn't realize, like, I knew he was a monster, but like that dude is actually like a real life monster on the glass. It was crazy to watch. The motors, unbelievable. And I think it'd be nice to watch this UNC team in a sense, run it back. I mean, they're gonna lose Manic, but they got a pretty good recruiting class coming in. They lost Dawson Garcia as well to the transfer portal, but like this is a team that could potentially run it back. And I like the run it back narrative. I'm all in for that. Are
Caleb Love and RJ Davis going to be back, you think?
I think so. I think they should.
I
think RJ Davis for sure is back. Caleb Love maybe goes, but then maybe you can somehow flip at that, it's RJ Davis's team now. And
so I want to see that. I want to see RJ Davis as the number one option without Caleb Love. No offense to Caleb Love, because I fell in love with the North Carolina backcourt. That includes Caleb Love. But like, I think RJ Davis could be the best guard in the country if Caleb Love disappears. I really do. And if Caleb Love is back, he's going to lead the team in shots, shoot 38% from the floor, have his big games, have his horrible games. Like, I've seen enough Caleb Love to know what Caleb Love is, and he was an asset for sure in the tournament. But like, I don't know, like, why would all three of those dudes come back? Is it just NIL?
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to NIL, man. This can keep happening. I love it for the sport, but that's kind of crazy for them to just say like, we're all coming back, right?
Or at these big schools, these bags are crazy.
True.
Crazy.
I don't get why Armando Bacot hasn't made his own like inflatable arms. Call them arms. Armando Bacot. I'm just saying.
Sleepers NIL department coming soon.
Last thing on UNC. Yes, they're going to have the run it back narrative. Yes, they're going to be a good team. I'm not buying them at all as like a preseason number 1 or preseason.
No,
not at all.
No,
like,
that's
an
too
8
much.
seed. This team was an 8 seed for a reason. Come on.
No, that's too much. That's too much.
Don't make the same UCLA mistake that we made last year. That I made last year. I was like, that's the best team in the country, and then in reality, they were fine. That's going to be Carolina next year. All right, final topic. Tom Izzo. This could go a lot of ways, but we did an episode with DK this week on the Spartan Hoops podcast. It was one of my favorite episodes we've done this year. Hour and a half of our musings on where the Michigan State basketball program is, thoughts on Tom Izzo, thoughts on Izzo's successors, thoughts on why he's not hitting the portal. And since we recorded that episode, I don't know if I'm allowed to even share this, but I'm going to share it. DK has come back and apparently received some sort of intel that Izzo does not think Michigan State needs a center in the portal.
I pride myself in being a good person, wanting the best for everybody, wanting good things, being somewhat of a basketball mind, you know, not saying I'm a savant, not saying I'm the second coming of James Naismith himself, but I feel like I understand the game just a smidge. What I saw last year is not a basketball team that doesn't need a center. It's a basketball team that desperately needs one. So I just can't agree. I can't agree with that. I'm not going to convince myself that's a true quote or a true thing that's been heard, because there's no way. There's no possible way. If you ask 30 people if we need a center, I feel like 30 people would say, yes, we do. And that's different levels of watching the game. So I refuse to believe that Izzo feels that way. I really do. There's no chance.
I think he feels that way. Let me ask you this. At what point is there a breaking point between the Michigan State fan base and Tom Izzo? Because it seems like every single year, at least for the last since Cassius Winston has been here, there has been some sort of disagreement where everyone in the fan base is like, he should be doing this, and Tom Izzo does something different, and it doesn't work for the team. And then the fans quickly flip from, he needs to be doing this, to, oh, well, this is why he did that. Like, they cover up for him. You know that.
Every fan base
does that, sure, but this is more frequent and more frequent and more frequent with Tom Izzo. Like, what's
more frequent to you because it's more frequent to you because you wake up praying that it happens.
No, it's more frequent to me because this is now year 3 of Tom Izzo in the portal era struggling. That's the truth. And if he doesn't get a center this year, which it sounds like he's not, they're literally not recruiting a center. And again, the buzz and the rumblings are that he's saying we don't need a center. He has Julius Marble, Madi Sissoko, and Jackson Kohler as his center rotation next year, and maybe Joey Hauser. Like, in 2 weeks from now, Cart, 2 weeks from now, is the narrative from you just going to be like, oh, we didn't need a center, Jackson Kohler era?
No, that's not the case. This is not a make or break year. But like, if we have a down year this year, and I consider the last 2 years to be down years, by the way, like last year was a down year too, like by Michigan State basketball standards to me.
By old Michigan State standards, yes.
Yes. So with this one, it'll be a third straight down year. It'd be a year where we still have, like, if you're not embracing NIL and embracing the portal, then you're not going to be successful in college basketball. That is the narrative. That is the atmosphere. That That is what college basketball is right now, whether you like it or not. Like there's stuff I do for my job that I don't like, but I got to embrace it because that is what I got to do to be successful. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't want to podcast with you, but we got to be successful. That is the landscape that we are in. Part of being a coach right now in college basketball is embracing NIL in the portal. You have to do it. I don't care if you hate it. You have to do it. It is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder when the breaking point is because he's not doing it. He's not embracing the transfer portal. At least not to the extent he should be. Like he's chasing Jalen Bridges. They might get Jalen Bridges. That's awesome. If they get Jalen Bridges, I still don't want to hear that Izzo's embracing the transfer portal because he has potentially 3 scholarships open. He's recruiting for 1 spot. He's going to leave 2 open again. He's going to give 1 to Steven Izzo. And he's going to give 1 to another walk-on. And our starting center is going to be Julius Marble.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me because it's not just the portal, like you said, G. It's just open scholarship. Like, why aren't we recruiting kids?
That's what I'm saying. Like
where are the recruits?
Again, last year, Cart, everybody jumped through hoops to fight me on Twitter about that. Oh, like it makes sense that we're not using these scholarships because we want Max Christie to feel confident. How'd that work out, everybody? Like, there is never a situation where an open scholarship is better than a filled scholarship for a Division I basketball program with hopes to make a Final Four, ever.
Unless you're going to add people.
Yeah, unless you're going to add people. But
so this is the add people portion of that formula.
Like I don't get it. Last year everybody defended him. I just want to know when the breaking point is because this year people are more loud about the fact that y'all need a center. So if Izzo comes out and straight up says, I didn't think we needed a center, how quick is that going to flip? Because in the past, it's flipped a lot. I feel that tensions are building, Cart. I feel that tensions with Tom Izzo have gone from here to here. And I don't know what to make of that, but I enjoy watching it.
I bet you
that.
You do. I bet you do.
Small ball, last thing on Izzo, like I said this on the episode with DK, they could go full small ball here, which I would actually kind of like.
Which I'm fine with if you literally, just like you said on the episode, just commit to it. Like just admit that you're not going to out rebound teams, admit that you're not going to be able to maybe stop people in the post and just go full small ball and let people adjust to it and make people uncomfortable. That also hinges a lot on Hall being completely locked in, and being that mismatch at the center position on the offensive end is what I'm saying. So that'd be key to it. But I'm good with embracing the full-on small ball. That sounds a lot better than me than 30 minutes of Julius Marble at center or 30 minutes of Madison Sissoko at center or whatever.
He's never going to play a center 30 minutes. He's going to
play whatever. I'm embellishing, but major minutes.
Yeah, I 17 for Marble, 15 for Mahdi, 10 for Hauser, 3 for Kohler. Sounds about right to me.
Oh, God, that's a disgusting rotation.
We'll see. I like Hauser Hall as a small ball front court.
I like Kohler.
I like Kohler too. Jackson's a dog. He might could he come in and be like sophomore Mo Wagner year 1? Maybe.
Possibly. Mo is an underrated defender.
I agree with that. I think Jackson's really going to struggle on that end, but he's going to torch people offensively.
Yes, he's going to torch people. He's got a stupid offensive bag. Stupid bag.
From day one too. Like he's our best offensive center immediately.
And also, if we can, I feel like we can tweak things with him too, because he's still 6'10". Like on the defensive end, I'm saying, like if we just, have him not hedge, just play drop and just be 6'10" in the center. At least you're 6'10".
Notorious in-game style adjuster Tom Izzo gonna play some drop coverage.
You know me, G. I just like to throw stuff at the wall and see.
I like it. I like it. How many? Final question of this episode: how many players on Michigan State's team make any all-conference team next season? Reminder: the number was 0 this season.
I think it's going to be 2.
Can I take the under on that? Who are the 2?
Hogarth and Malik Hall.
Oh, okay. All right. That'd be fun. I'm going to go with 0 for the second consecutive year.
Well, you would have lost last year.
I won this year. Do you want to make? Can we make a bet on this?
Well, no. You said under 1, and Gabe Brown made 13.
No, he made honorable mention. I thought he got 1 vote from the coaches, but not.
I'm pretty sure he was on third. I'm pretty sure he was 13.
He was on one of the 2 third teams.
He was on a third team,
and he was off the other one.
Okay, so what bet would you like to make, Gregory?
If there's less than 2 Michigan State players that make unanimous, both teams, coaches and media, you have to shave your head.
Shape like a buzz cut?
Yeah.
Like not bald?
Just a buzz cut. I'll buzz cut my head, or you'll buzz cut your head, depending on how many players make.
Ooh, deal. So 2 make it. 2. Any team.
2 have to make both media and coach.
Okay.
And if it's less than 2, you have to get a buzz cut. And if it's 2 or more, I have to get a buzz cut.
Deal.
All right. Now we have something to look forward to. I don't want to forget that one. Let's write that down.
Well, I mean, I put it in your
my notes.
Your notes app for bets that you keep running for like years.
That's actually a really good episode. I have a notepad in my phone of 13 lifelong bets that won't be settled for at least a year plus.
You might have to like go. Well, actually, I don't know. Some of those can even be read.
But yeah, they get a little personal. I have a $50 bet with my best man, Andrew Robeson, that Patrick Beeline will win a major conference title before he's 60. That one doesn't look good right now.
that looks awful.
That was before I knew he was a heathen. Okay, that's tough. All right, this is the starting 5, another long starting 5 episode. Enjoy the sunshine. The birds are chirping, my friend.
The birds are chirping. I'm about to hop on a boat soon here and take a little ride, maybe a little morning cocktail action. Who knows? But I'm dedicated to our Monday starting 5 episode being 20 minutes. Like I'm gonna get the timer out.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm already gassed. Like the leash is too long for us right now. We need to be reined in.
We need it. So we got Cormac leashes right now. We need a Marcus Bingham leash.
Yeah. Have fun this weekend, my friend. I will talk to you next week.
All right. See you.